Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, everybody? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast. This is episode number 62, we believe.
We think.
I think so.
We think. I just asked Jason, I said, isn't this 62? And he said, I think so.
I think it's 62.
He usually knows the answer, but we're just guessing today.
Well, it has been... It's been this is probably the craziest week yet. I'm going to be honest with you.
And it's going to get crazier.
Yeah. So everything's off schedule. The videos are off schedule. The podcast off schedule.
We'll get back, though.
This week's been really nuts.
We're not wearing headphones. We had a mishap with a pair of headphones, and so it would look odd if he was wearing them or I was wearing them and the other one wasn't. So we're not wearing headphones because... We're just down to one pair, so.
Down to one pair. And a lot of people ask about the headphones, and it's just easier for us to hear each other properly, and I can hear what's going on the soundboard, and so I can hear what y'all hear. And a podcast is more like a radio show than it is a video show, so it just sounds kind of important on it, and that's why. And here's the prime example. We had already started recording this podcast, and we're 6 minutes in when I realized things weren't hooked up all the way properly, and that's why I wear the headphones.
Oh, that's okay. We're starting over, and we're going to make this work no matter what. You know, it just seems like right now what we need is packed away, and what we don't need is what's left out.
Yes.
But that's the way it's going to be, so I've just decided to let it go, and just, you know, if we don't have what we need, then we'll make it work, and there's no sense in crying over spilled milk, right?
That's right. And, you know, when we're packing stuff away, we're trying to think ahead and say, hey, we need this, we don't need this. So, I don't know.
You know what I need?
What?
Long sleeves.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, you don't, but...
Yeah. I did yesterday. Remember me telling you?
Yeah, and I packed Jason's clothes to go over to the 40, and I asked him what he needed, and he said, well, just pants, underwear, socks, and a T-shirt. And I said, a T-shirt? And you said, yes. And my thinking was, it's about to get cool, but you said a T-shirt. So I packed you a T-shirt. Well, then I get a text from you yesterday morning, and you said, I need a jacket.
I did. I had to cut the heat on the camper. It was... I know some of y'all people up north think y'all gonna be laughing, but it was 58 degrees in the camper. That's cold for us down here, honestly. I mean, last week it was 99, and this week, you know, I woke up to 58, and so it was cool. Me and Arlo had to cut the heater on.
When it drops below 75, I like to put on long sleeves. And I just so happened to have just ordered me some new long sleeve shirts. I talked about it in the last podcast that I ordered some new shirts, and a long sleeve T-shirt was one of them. And I think when we finish this podcast,
you gonna order some more?
I'm going down to order some more long sleeves, because when I came over to the 40, yesterday or day before, and the cool snap had started, I was cold.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. It is a totally different, I don't want to say climate, but the
it's
weather.
It's not a different climate. It's just a different.
It is different, and it's an hour away from here, and it's north.
It's 40 miles.
Yeah, it's northeast. Northeast
of here.
And it is different. Yesterday, I was there, and remember me telling you the wind?
Yeah.
The wind was really, and I've talked about it before in the videos, and here it's really not that much wind here.
It's almost like it goes over the top of us, because we kind of go down.
Yep.
And so, you know, there are times in the past where it'll say wind on the weather, and it won't be windy here, but you'll go to town and you'll realize just how windy it is. And I think that's what's happening is, you know, over there we can feel that.
Right.
We have flat land, and it's just, you feel that wind. And Marycarl has told my mom, which is her Nana, Nana, you better get ready, because it's cold up there on the 40.
Has she told her that?
Yes, she's told her that.
Really?
And when we bought the property, if I'm not mistaken, it was February.
It was February.
And it was cold.
Yep, it was cold. And Yeah, it was. I can't remember what part of February. I don't know if it was first.
Well, we've got a picture of us.
Yeah.
Well, you're wearing a short sleeve T-shirt, but there were some other times when we had on big, heavy jackets.
After we bought it, and it took.
Yeah, 60 days or so to close on it.
The close on it.
So when we went and looked at it, I can remember it being cold.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I'm guessing that it was cold when we went over to look at it because the closing kind of got tied up because there was like several siblings and they lived in all in different states.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything on our end. It was just that it took a little bit of a procedure.
It just took a long time. Yeah. So
I'm gonna tell y'all something. I might want to rethink this moving north.
Uh-oh.
Even though it's just 40 miles up the road, I'm not a cold weather person.
And
I might need to go 40 miles south. You like it?
I do like it. Now
Marycarl does too.
I don't like it per se like my buddy Al Lumna over there at Lumna Acres. I saw him putting in his septic tank system, and they've had a heat spell up there, and I'm not quite for sure how hot it is up there in that area.
Northeast.
Northeast and like in the Massachusetts area. And
you said that right. I can't believe it.
I know it. I've been practicing.
You didn't think I was going to notice, did you?
Didn't think I said it real fast.
Okay, don't try to say it again because you'll mess it up.
But he was fussing about the heat and saying he could not believe how we stand it down here in the South and and how much he loved the cold weather and how much he'd rather have all this snow. And we're just the opposite. I do like it when it does snow occasionally, but I could not imagine
having to shovel your way out.
Yeah, I just can't imagine it.
Me either.
And having to,
look, I'm gonna tell you,
all the clothes and stuff. Yeah.
My climate is 100 degrees. That's what I like.
And I don't mind the heat per se. It's just the humidity and the dew point. That's the new thing that they tell us now is that it's really not the humidity that's bad because everybody's got humidity. It's the dew point, and I'm not a scientist.
You told us about this once before, so I think you must be reading up on this weather thing.
The higher the dew point is, the stickier and the nasty, that feeling. And anything like above 50 is pretty bad, and we stay around 75 here, so it's the dew point that's really rough.
Well, I'll tell you that my mom says, the older you get, Brooke, you're not going to like that hot weather. And I keep on waiting. You're going to knock yourself out over there. I keep on waiting for that day to come because all of my 45 years, I have loved hot weather. And I mean 100 degrees, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I just don't mind the heat. I hate the cold, and I'm talking about I don't like it below 70.
Let's say this, though, and it's not like this all the time over there, but it is a lot of the times. There's a constant breeze at the 40.
Until you go to bush hog, and then there's no breeze.
Well, that's...
On the days that I've chose to bush hog, I hadn't liked the 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
The heat coming off of that tractor.
Yeah.
We're going to get me a bonnet to go on the top to shield that sun. You like the way I said that.
Bonnet.
I know you did. But, when you're trying to bush hog and it's 100 degrees outside and the heat's coming off of that tractor, boy, it gets hot. I don't care for that.
Yeah, I can see that. But I know that, like, us putting the fence up, it was breezy that day.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
We've been pretty fortunate with our weather situation and getting moved and
then
not passing out yet. And
I thought about this yesterday.
What?
Talking about moving and fencing and the 40 and the flower garden, all that. We may be fixing to have to move the pigs.
Yeah.
They've done.
We can do whatever we want to once we get over there in a couple of weeks.
Done a number on their spot, and I think they're just about finished with that.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Those pigs beat anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They act like dogs.
They really do.
Every time they see us, they spin around.
Yeah.
They run. They chase each other. And
it's not like we give them any treats or anything.
Oh no, they're just happy.
It is crazy.
I think they're just happy.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they're just happy, and they're large.
They're getting very big. Matter of fact, there was one that's always been bigger than the other one.
I can't tell the difference.
And now they're pretty much the same size. And we've had, again, which we got sun today, thank goodness. But we had a spell where we had 6 days straight.
So they were muddy.
And so, yeah, they were completely covered in mud.
You couldn't tell the difference in them.
Because one's tan and black spotted, and the other one's black. and he's got a few little spots here and there.
It was easy to distinguish
Very
by color.
easy to
until they
distinguish.
got covered with mud.
Then they got covered with mud, and you could not tell them apart.
No, you can't tell them apart by size anymore.
No, not by size. And so I think we're gonna have to move them. I'm anxious to see because, you know, from our experience in the past, once that pig learns that fence, even if you take it down, they still won't cross.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see once we take it down and kind of move it that
what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Absolutely. I'm trying to figure, should we go back or should we go sideways?
Well, I think we'll figure that out once we get over there, and once we get our animals over there. I don't want to move them if we can help it until after we get our stuff situated, because that's our priority right now.
Yeah, it is our priority.
I mean, we know the pigs need to be moved, but our first priority is getting all our stuff over there, which we have not started yet, and simply because we want to be living there when we have animals there.
Yeah.
I say we wait until the last minute.
You know, I'm kind of thinking the opposite.
Really?
I'm kind of thinking we ought to start moving them 3 to 5 days before we move. And the reason being is I don't want to wait to the last minute. And I just thought about this last night, really.
Okay.
Because the new people are here. We're going to be running around down there trying to video and trying to catch everything.
Well, here's what I was thinking. Okay, so October 4th is when they'll start their journey down here. And I thought that's when we would start moving them. So that way we'd be done by the time they get here. Because it's going to take them 3 or 4 days to get here.
Right.
I mean, we could start October 1st, maybe. Yeah. Something like that, because it's gonna be a couple of trips a day for several days.
Yep, and then I could just stay over there full time.
Oh, you trying to leave us, huh? I think he likes it over there.
I tell you who likes it over there.
Arlo,
absolutely, y'all. He just, when he sees me grab that backpack, because I carry all my equipment in this backpack, and when he sees me grab that backpack, he automatically knows we're going, or I'm going over there, and he thinks he's going because he goes 95% of the time.
Well, the times that we have had to go somewhere or meet with somebody and he couldn't go, and you spent the night over there, and I came back home, he was like a lost, sad puppy. Where is my daddy?
Well, I'm telling y'all, he loves it.
And by the way, that hadn't been but 2 times.
Hadn't been but 2 times. He goes over there and he doesn't run off. You know, he's a great dog. And so I let him out, and I say he doesn't run off. I mean, where I can't see him, but he just jumps out of that truck. He does. He jumps out of that truck, and it's like, OMG.
I'm here.
And he just runs as fast as he can, just everywhere. And then he comes back. And in here with the cool weather, I've just been leaving the camper door open.
Well, the screen door's shut.
And he thinks, well, it just depends. He thinks that's, you know, he can go in and out.
Oh.
He'll go in and he'll come back out. And so he just, and feeding the pigs, oh my gosh, he just lights up when we get there.
Well, speaking of animals, yesterday was a big day for Sassy Man, the cat that we rescued, that was found. If you go back, you'll find the video where we got the cat from Laura Spencer over at Simply Making It, whose daughter found the kittens on the side of the road. And she gave us the opportunity to get one, which was going to be a barn cat. Well, my mom fell in love with him, so she took him home, and he's been there ever since. But the vet did all the vaccinations and all the, shots that he was supposed to have at an early age, and did not want to neuter him until at least September or October. And so we've been waiting for the day, and yesterday was his big day.
What's his big day?
I took him over to the vet yesterday morning, and he was neutered yesterday. He got to come home yesterday, and I wanted to do that before we moved.
I got you.
Because a tomcat is not good in the country.
It's really not good in the country at all.
All of our animals are spayed and neutered except for Arlo, who the vet recommended to keep him intact. Our property will be completely fenced. He will have a fence inside of a fence.
Yes, he will.
And the vet recommended if we don't have any unspayed females around, then keep him uncut, unneutered, and that way it'll keep his weight at a manageable. I call him little tiny man because he kind of looks like he needs a cheeseburger every now and then. But he's just fit. He is fit. And I think that's because he has not been neutered.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, the neutering puts a little weight on him, and that's not the reason we're not neutering him. It's not because we don't want a fat dog. It's just because the vet recommended that we keep him uncut if we can. So,
and as a matter of fact, it showed up on my Facebook memories.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say that.
Yesterday, well, our podcast will come out, but anyways, Arlo's been here a year.
Gotcha day for Arlo.
Yep.
I was wondering, you know, we keep his hair cut so things won't get tangled up in it.
That's right.
And so he won't have mats or whatever.
Yeah, we used to try to give him that schnauzer cut with the skirt and all.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But he goes out there to the 40 and runs and gets in the pig pen, and it wasn't working at all. So now we just keep his hair short.
And he doesn't look like a traditional schnauzer with his cut. But you know what? He's our dog. He's our pet. He's not going to any kind of show.
That's right.
And we're doing what's best for him. So.
That's right. You know, we never even turned his papers in. He's registered, but we never
I still have his paperwork. And matter of fact, I was cleaning out all of my, well, I call it bill container.
Yeah.
That we keep all of our paperwork and stuff in.
You ran across them?
And yeah. I ran across them. It was his shot records, and you know I had his paperwork in there that needed to be sent off. And we got a text a couple of weeks ago from the people that we got Arlo from, wanting to know if they could see some pictures of him.
That's right.
And so we sent Miss Christie some pictures of Arlo, and they said, "Oh, he's definitely a daddy's dog." And they are not a breeder, so y'all, we can't give you any recommendation on where to buy a Schnauzer puppy because it was kind of an accident.
It was.
They have a male whose name is Sparky, I believe.
Arlo's daddy's his name's Sparky.
And they had a female, and I can't remember her name, but their son came over for a visit, and they kept them separated while the female was in heat, and there were no problems. But the son came over, and he didn't realize that the female was in heat and let them get together, and that's how Arlo came about. It was an accident.
I'm glad it happened.
I'm glad it happened too, but they don't plan to breed Arlo's parents again, so wasn't like that was a breeder. Arlo was an accident, and we just took advantage of that accident.
We got lucky.
And Arlo was not my pick.
No, because we saw pictures of them on the internet, and was it Facebook or Craigslist?
It was Craigslist.
And so they had pictures of Arlo, and of course, you know, you talked to them, got phone numbers. So it wasn't like we were going blindly into this.
Well, I'm all about knowing that scams exist.
Yes.
And there was a phone number on this post.
Yeah.
And so I picked up the phone and I called them.
Right.
And I actually spoke to a human, and they told me where they were. I was familiar with the area that they were in, and Jason was like, "Well, can they send us some pictures?"
Yes.
Well, didn't they had males only? They had 3 males.
They had males only, which I wanted a male.
You wanted a male because Moose, your old lab, was a male, and he was just as goofy as they come. But he was your buddy, and so you wanted a male. Just so happened they had 3 males, so they were delivering a puppy to a lady, and she had already picked hers out of those 3.
She had.
So there were 2 left.
Yes.
And one of them was called Platinum.
Beautiful, almost like the color of your shirt. Almost.
Yes, and then Arlo was called what? Salt and pepper? No.
I can't remember.
I'll think of it in a minute.
Okay.
But I chose the...
We both did. Well, the Platinum was beautiful.
It was Jason's dog, but I said, "Oh, Jason, he's so pretty." He said, "We want this one." And she said, "Okay, I'll bring him and I'll meet you, da-da-da." Anyway, she ended up bringing the last one along just for the ride.
Yes.
So he wouldn't be alone.
Which is Arlo.
Yes. And Piper went with us.
Mm-hmm.
And Marycarl and Jason and myself, and we met Miss Christie, and she brought the second dog along for the ride, and Jason picked Arlo.
I did.
Which was not the one we told her to bring.
Was not at all. I don't know what it was. Me and him just connected. It was crazy. And
I was still saying...
Well, you know, I kept looking at him. I was like, well, this is the one I originally wanted. Was this one?
He kind of went to you, though, didn't he?
But there was just something about Arlo. I don't know what it was. And, you know, eventually, you know, I God, and we was probably there 30 minutes, y'all. It was crazy.
It was longer than 30 minutes, I believe. We
time.
put them all on the ground, and they walked around. And they did have one female that they were keeping.
It was liver.
It was liver, and that's the reason they were keeping it, is because it was an odd color. For Sparky, the daddy was black, and the mama was white, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I've got some old pictures of the parents, but she was liver, and she was absolutely beautiful.
She was beautiful.
We didn't want a female, and they were keeping her. So she came along for the ride, too.
She did.
So we got to see her, and they held her the whole time because she was their precious little baby. But Arlo got lucky, I guess you'd say, because he was not the one we told him to bring, but they brought him along for the ride.
I'm glad they did.
I'm glad they did, too. He's a good old boy.
He is a good dog.
He's not my kind of temperament for a dog. I like those wound up. I like those kind, those old toys when you were little that you get that crank going.
That's right.
And then they start doing all this.
Yeah.
Get up. That's what I like.
Well,
I like those dogs that can get wound up real easy.
Arlo gets pretty wound up when you let him turn him loose on that 40.
Yeah, but then he slows back down. Mine's like that all the time.
Until it goes to bed.
I have a Pomeranian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She is, but I love her, and I do believe I will always have a Pomeranian.
Do you really?
I really do. I got a little tears in my eyes because I love her so much, and she's the perfect dog for me. She's the perfect dog for me. But
she is a good dog.
Well, she's not necessarily perfect for everybody, but she's my kind of dog. When she gets in the car, she flips her switch off, and she's the perfect little rider.
Well, what's crazy is that she's wide open, and she's crazy, and just I'm talking about wide open. It's 0 to 100, and she's at 100 all day, except if she gets a bath.
Yeah, she's calm then. She likes it.
Just cuts it off, and she's just the perfect dog. Just sits there and just as calm as she can be. When she rides in the car, same switch cuts off, and just super calm, doesn't bark, just sits there. And when she goes to bed.
But also, she's a lap dog. She loves to sit in your lap, and she can be still.
Yeah.
And she can be loved on, but then she turns that switch back on
the whole time you're petting it, you're just winding that crank up. Then you set it down, just
that toy takes off. Like one of those cars that you go backwards,
back, and
then you let it go, and boy, that thing gonna take off.
You used to put a penny in the back of that car. Remember it had a little penny slot on it?
No, I've never seen a car with a penny in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever seen the ones that go.
Yeah, that's it.
But not a penny.
Yeah, it was a little slot that a penny sat in. I think they're called penny racers.
Okay, you're 1 year older than me, and you know about a car that I've never heard of. And I collected Matchbox cars, by the way.
Hot Wheels and Matchboxes.
Hot Wheels, and they're packed up and ready to go.
Yep.
I'm gonna play with those again one day. Me and Gidget are gonna get them out, and we're gonna see how fast you can go.
It's funny is that you got your Hot Wheels, and I had Hot Wheels too, but I guess I didn't keep them, but I did keep my baseball cards, and I have totes of baseball cards. And
you know what
have
else
your
I
Hot
have?
Wheels, and you got Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
And we've been packing away, and we've been trying to
get rid of stuff.
And Beanie Babies came up, and I could tell you were having a little hard decision with the Beanie Babies, and I finally said, "To heck with it, we'll just pack them up." I got my baseball cards.
I don't know what to do with the Beanie Babies. I remember I was working at Walter Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Mama was working at the Flower Basket, and they were a distributor for Thai.
Yes.
And I don't know what it was, but every time a new one came out...
Well, it was a craze then.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, there was Beanie Baby mania.
Since they were a distributor, they had first option. Everything they got in, you could get the good ones. They might only get 2 Princess Dianas, but I could get one of them.
That's right.
And so every time one came in, I would pay her, for the Beanie Babies, and I don't know how much money I came off with for those Beanie Babies, just at retail price.
Well, there's 3 totes of them.
I got a lot of them, and I really don't want them. So if anybody out there,
you better watch what you say.
Okay. I got a lot of good ones, but I don't.
Well, we
need
don't know
them.
how to price them. They could be worth money, and we don't know.
I don't want to just donate. I mean,
I just figure we keep them, and who knows? Maybe it'll pay for a great grandkids 1 year college.
it might pay for a great grandkids Pomeranian, but that might be about it.
Yep. That's what I always say about my baseball cards is
it's not necessarily the value that I look at it. It's sentimental.
it is sentimental, and my baseball cards are sentimental. And I always think back of my dad who told me he had baseball cards, and that my nanny threw them away. And I think, gosh, if she hadn't have thrown them baseball cards away.
And I had something else. Garbage Pail Kids.
And I found there's some of those cards in there.
I don't care about those, but I can remember being little and collecting them, and Garbage Pail Kids. I mean, they can go for all I care, but I think they're already packed up.
I think they're already packed up. And there wasn't that many.
No, I wasn't a fanatic about it, but Beanie Babies, I was pretty fanatic about.
Yeah, Beanie Babies. I remember we would go to
even McDonald's. Do you remember when the McDonald's came out with the little tiny beanies? Mm-hmm. I had to have all those too, and I bet they're brand new in the package.
I'm sure they are.
Well, enough of us rambling. Let's get to some.
Well, I got one announcement to make.
Oh, what?
There is a homesteading conference or expo that looks like it's going to be a pretty big one.
Okay.
In Oklahoma in March.
Oklahoma.
And it's called.
I've never been further north than Tennessee.
I know it. This is going to be a new one for us. This is put on by Keeping It Dutch and Hidden Heights Farms, and it's
Hidden Heights Acres, isn't it?
Yes, I think you're right. And it's in Oklahoma. It's called the Okie Homesteading Conference. There's going to be 4 key speakers there, and we will be one of the 4 speakers.
Oh, we're considered key?
Yes.
Oh,
it looks like there's only going to be 4 speakers, period.
Oh, that makes me nervous.
Yep, and we're going to be one of the 4 speakers. I know Daniel Arms is going to be a speaker.
They might better set us a time limit because we can go on and on and on.
And
those 4 won't ever have another chance.
Hand Hewn Farm will be there doing
really?
a pig butchering class.
Really?
3 days. Yes. And there's going to be soap making stuff. I mean, it's going to be
a big deal, isn't it?
It's like it's going to be a big deal. And a matter of fact, I think tickets go on sale today. I'm almost positive Dutch said that in the last video. I'll put a link. He set up a YouTube channel. It's called Okie Homestead Expo.
Oh, okay.
And I'll put a link to that channel below, and that'll give you all the information and where to go and all that kind of good stuff. And he's putting the video out weekly.
As to who the key speakers are.
Who the key speakers are going to be. And I say he's doing several videos a week. So to keep you guys posted on that, if anybody's interested in that or in the Oklahoma area, be sure to check that out. It looks like that's going to end up being a pretty big deal. I think it's going to be pretty big. I forget how many people that they originally thought, but me and him got to talking, and I think it's going to be pretty big. So I just wanted to put that out there that we will be a key speaker at the Okie Homestead Conference.
This is going to be interesting.
Yep. And we'll be in Pensacola in the end of October.
That's right.
Yep.
But
I wanted to say that.
I'm thinking about going all the way to Oklahoma. Hadn't been further than Chattanooga. I mean, no further than Chattanooga in my life.
I went with my granddaddy and nanny. They used to camp a lot, and we went up to the Smoky Mountains and the Rocky Mountains, and then we dipped into the Carolinas, and that's the furthest north I've been. So
now on an airplane, I've landed a couple of places.
Yeah, we've gone
to
Charlotte.
Doesn't count. That doesn't count. Driving is a whole nother ball game, and I enjoy seeing scenery in different parts of the nation. Yeah. However, I haven't ever had a chance to do that.
You know what? I do too, and of course I'm the right. Marycarl is a great passenger for a child. I mean, absolutely great. She does so well, and she really enjoys it.
She does, and we've been to Universal Studios and Disney World several times, and we've always flown. But we talked about it, and their next trip, once this COVID thing's under control, I think we ought to drive just because we enjoy scenery.
We enjoy it, and and I've also noticed that we don't do a super hurry thing. If we're driving and we see something cool on the side of the road,
you're gonna stop.
We're gonna stop. And I think that's why Marycarl likes it.
Yeah, I think so too. But with a flight, you spend so much time at the airport just sitting and waiting on your flight.
And even though we've flown several times,
it makes me nervous.
It's so stressful.
Oh, goodness.
Because it's not something you do, at least for us. I'm sure there's people out there that do it all the time. But, if you're flying once or twice a year, it's just stressful.
You get worked up
You have
about it.
to
You got to
check
have all those tickets.
and all your tickets, and if you have something wrong, and it's just really, really stressful.
I printed out a few questions.
Okay.
You hadn't asked me an important question this morning that you've been asking me every podcast.
What's that?
You don't remember?
What's your stress level?
Yes.
What is your stress level?
At
right now?
11.
Is it really?
Yes. It wasn't that way yesterday, but today it is.
Really?
Yes, I'm just starting. I wrote down everything that needs to be done
Yeah.
last night.
Oh, gracious.
And I figured out how many trips it would take us.
Oh, gracious.
Because I counted them. You
Uh-huh.
know, I'm a counter.
Yeah, right.
So I've counted all the trips it's going to take us back and forth with the trailer. It's a few trips. And on top of that, we got to put animal pens together still over there. On top of that, we still don't have the silky trailer. Hopefully Saturday.
Hopefully Saturday we get it Saturday.
But we still got to cut that ventilation out and make doors. And I'm feeling kind of stressed.
Are you?
I am. But it started today.
It started today. So you're around 11. How many trips did you come up with?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
But I do know that I saw this stuff in the grocery store. It was called hard coffee.
Yeah.
And I think it's coffee that has alcohol added. and I don't consume any alcohol at all. I mean, I just don't. I don't know why. I just don't. But that hard coffee to start my day off might be a good idea. I might can get some of this stress under control. I'm not encouraging alcohol to anybody. But during this time in my life, it might be a good idea. Y'all might want me to bring one on the next podcast.
I don't know if we do or not.
It might control my day.
Yeah, it may do it.
It may control everything.
Those trips may get more and more.
You're going to be driving.
I dang sure will.
I'm normally the driver, but you would be driving if that was the case.
Me.
So anyway, back to
That's funny.
I'm just shaking my leg and that camera's going like this.
Oh, let's don't do that.
So I printed out some questions, and I think that we can go ahead and answer some of these.
Sure.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Somebody said, will the ducks be harder to catch, to move, or the chickens?
The ducks will be harder. Because we can get the chickens at night.
Yeah, that's true.
We can go in
Ducks
there.
Ducks don't go to roost.
They're
Ducks
not,
just wander around.
Yeah, so the chickens will be way easier to catch than the ducks will, in my opinion. The ducks are going to be, but we don't have that many ducks really like we did.
No, we don't. We slimmed down a lot.
We rehomed so many of them to Stan and Kathy at JK Farm. So
I think we've got 7 geese, if I'm not mistaken. They won't be hard because they don't move very fast.
Yeah, they don't move very fast.
I think we can get, maybe the ducks and the geese at the same time.
Yeah.
And we will probably do that in the evening just simply for the fact that they move a little slower at night.
The Muscovies are going to be the toughest because they can fly.
They will be the toughest.
Yep.
And we have more Muscovies than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So you just took my stress level up a notch. That hard coffee's looking better and better. I don't know if these questions were a good idea or not.
Oh, my gracious.
Okay, the second question is, before I go on.
Yeah.
Do you know that Ruby and Rhonda have been sleeping in the chicken coop?
Oh, that's good. It'll be easy to catch them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been, like last night I went down there for something. I can't remember what it was. And Ruby and Rhonda were asleep in the coop on the roost with the chickens.
Cool.
That's what I told them. I said, good job, girls.
Good job, girls.
This is a good idea. And before I go on to any questions, this might be a super long podcast, by the way. I got to tell y'all something real funny.
Uh-oh.
So, as you know, Jason's been going over to the 40 and unloading stuff, doing videos, whatever. I've been staying here. So, the other evening, I was just doing some tidying up in the barn, and I needed they're milk crates is what they are.
Right.
I've got a bunch of them that I accumulated over time, and I knew where one was. It was over, you know what this is about, don't you? I see you kind of grinning.
No.
I knew where one was.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
It was over by the door of the chicken coop.
Mm-hmm.
So I go over and I picked the milk crate up, and there was a gorilla cart. Mm-hmm. And the gorilla cart I had turned upside down several days prior because it had been raining and the rain was accumulating the cart, and I didn't want it to, fill it with water and be a mosquito habitat or whatever. So I thought, well, I'll take that cart and put this milk crate in it so that way I can, get it out of the way too. I turned that cart over, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, I had my phone in my pocket. I got the biggest scare. I don't know if I was scared. If I was just like this.
Yes.
Guess what was under that cart?
I was thinking snake when you told me this story.
Okay, so it's late in the evening. Well, it's probably 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Chickens had started going to bed. I lift that cart up. Literally this big around. Do you see my head? Okay, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But bigger than my head, like this big around,
Big.
was a frog.
Huge bullfrog.
I have never in my mouth was like this. I said, son, you a biggin'. And he looked back at me and he stuck his tongue out and he went on.
How far did he
didn't
jump?
really stick his tongue out. But
How far did he jump?
you know, I'm thinking to myself, nobody's going to believe me. I got to take a picture of this. So I go to get my phone out. When I get my phone in my hand, he took one leap. Boom. He was gone into the creek.
And you're talking a long ways.
20 foot.
At least.
One leap. That boy was gone. I never saw him again.
Huge.
So I came home and I said, Marycarl, you are not going to believe what I just saw. And so she immediately starts Googling because she knows, you know, she knows how to use a computer. Right. And she found out that it was probably called a pig frog. P-I-G frog.
That's crazy.
They're native to the southeastern and United States, and they get really big. But y'all, I'm going to tell you, it was like something off of a sci-fi movie.
It was huge.
It was huge. I couldn't help but I just giggled the whole way back with my cart to the barn with my milk crate in the inside. I was just giggling. And if somebody had had a camera on me, they'd have thought I had been in the hard coffee already because I was giggling because I saw a frog that was bigger than my head.
We used to have one, a bullfrog. We had a fountain at the barn. You know,
we called it the witch's pot.
It was a witch's pot and had a fountain in it, and so the water stayed stirred up. But the darn ducks and geese, we had to finally just shut it down.
They get in there and they thought it was their party,
and so,
pooper party.
But there was a bullfrog that lived in that darn witch's pot, and he was big. But not as big as this thing you're talking about. We named him Burl.
We named him Burl, B-U-R-L.
Where did Burl even come from?
Mama named him Burl. My mama named him Burl.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. But as soon as I saw this one, I immediately brought up memories of Burl. And who knows? It could have been Burl.
It could have been Burl.
Because that was a few years ago, and Burl could have grown by now.
That's true.
But Burl made some loud noises.
Yes, he did make some crazy loud noises. Yeah, it was crazy.
You know, and we could hear, and every time we heard him, we'd say, "There's Burl."
Mm-hmm.
But this fella didn't make any noise when I picked the cart up, and we just looked at each other. And like I said, he stuck his tongue out. He really didn't.
He's been eating good.
He winked at me. I told Marycarl when I got back, I said, Marycarl, he could eat a chicken, and I'm not kidding.
I wonder if he could eat that. I guess they don't eat eggs, do they?
I don't know what they eat, but he was healthy. He was a healthy man. And I told Jason when he got back home, I didn't tell you that night. I told you like the next day in Kirsten. And I said, I hope he could see him before we leave because I've never seen anything like that in my life. Never.
That's crazy.
He was huge.
I can't believe we just ain't seen him more often.
Well, it's just he was in a dark place.
I guess so. I guess they just kind of stay hidden around.
He was waiting on a chicken to come by.
Or a goose.
He been eating good. He could probably take Nugget's leg off.
I'm glad Nugget didn't see
Nugget
you.
could stomp him.
Oh, my gracious.
Second question. I got off a little subject.
That's okay.
Do you plan on putting drywall in the tiny house? It looks like you have only old-looking tin on the walls at this time.
That tiny house was just done. I mean, it wasn't even completed. We said in the video, the lady had been living in it 2 weeks, and she was having the work done, and she picked out the old rustic tin and the old rustic wood, and that was the decor she picked out, and we're not going to do anything else different. You know, this is just temporary housing.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It is so temporary that we don't need to do anything to it. If you can't make ends meet for a few months and look at that rusted tin and And like, I'm talking about Mama.
Right.
And she says she doesn't mind it.
She doesn't mind it.
She says no need to change the decor as much as we've got going on. All she needs is a place to lay her head, to cook her a meal and take a shower, brush her teeth, use the bathroom.
Right.
And that serves its purpose.
And I think, too, another thing is, when we did the tour of it there was no electricity.
Yeah, and I came back and told Jason, I said, I wish we hadn't done that tour with the electricity off, but y'all were eager to see it,
and we were eager to show it.
It looks like a different place with the lights on.
It's totally different with the lights on, and so we may even show it with the lights on in the video for now.
Excuse me. In the future, we may go back and make a few changes.
Yep.
But for right now, it's temporary housing.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. Is it works out better for her than a camper would.
Yep.
And the decor is the last thing on our mind right now. As long as it satisfies the need to be a shelter.
Yep.
And that's all that's needed. So, no, I wouldn't have particularly picked that to go on it, but it's there, and that's the way it's going to be.
Plus, too, the tin, I can see why she did it, because the drywall is very expensive.
I'd hate to know we moved it and we had drywall in it.
Yeah, it wouldn't make it. It would have cracked.
It would have cracked. So I'm glad there wasn't drywall in it. But this serves its purpose, and, it's just what it's going to be. She's not going to live in it long.
Well, I didn't know drywall was that expensive really until our house bill coming up. And, I've been doing a lot of research and just watching a lot of YouTube videos about it and and drywall. When I say drywall, I'm talking about the sheetrock, the mud, and paying somebody to do it is one of the most expensive things that you can. It's a very, very big expense. Very big expense. So I can see how the tin.
Oh yeah, she just needed something to be put in quickly, and that worked out perfect for her, and it'll work out perfect for us because we're not in it for the decor. We're in it for a place to stay. This is what the podcast should be titled.
What?
What are you going to do with that bed behind you in the podcast room?
This one?
That's what the podcast should be titled.
Have so many people ask about this bed behind us.
And comment after comment, y'all are forgetting that bed behind you.
And which is crazy to us because, I don't know, it just doesn't even, I don't know,
It's in this room because this is a podcast room.
This
is an editing room.
Yeah, it's like more like an office.
Yeah, and this is where if Jason stays up late at night, it's a place for him to sleep.
And if y'all see it, it's a floating bed. This thing...
It's made into the wall. It's not like it's a bed. It's a bed, but it's made into the wall. It's a mattress on top of it that can be easily pulled out and taken.
Well, it's just 2x4s. I ran into the studs of the wall and put a piece of plywood on it, and then we bought one of those bed-in-a-box mattresses and put in there. So that's all it is. So the mattress will go.
And there's a lamp back there, too, you can see.
Yeah.
The lamp will go, too.
Yeah. Yep.
But we're not doing that till the last minute because if he's editing
if I'm in here
video,
editing late at night, I don't want to wake anybody up, and so I'll just crash in here.
So there's why the bed is here. That was the most asked question.
That was. I can't believe that's really crazy.
This could be a whole podcast in itself, but I'm going to make it brief.
Okay.
So where are the birds going?
And I guess they're talking about Zerk, Mondu, and Peanut, the parrots.
And that's why I said this could be a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah.
Guess why?
Why?
Because we have now decided that instead of putting the birds in the little camper, the little Yellowstone, the little canned ham, which is what we initially planned on doing.
That's right.
Upon a rummage sale at an old feed store that's in Selma, Alabama, this past weekend, we were able to come up with some cages that were actually hamster cages.
That are stackable.
That are big.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And we purchased those at an excellent price. Mm-hmm. And Marycarl had the bright idea to go ahead and put her birds in it to see if they could acclimate themselves to those cages so they won't be moving into a new cage and a new environment all at one time. So last weekend we bought those hamster cages. Mm-hmm. She put the birds in there. She put all their toys and made sure that they could live in these cages and everything was good. So we could move them to the camper.
Yep. So since the cages are, they're like this and kind of shorter because they're hamster cages. They can stack and they'll be perfect. They'll fit perfect in the camper now.
In the office area of the camper is Marycarl's room. A lot of people said during the camper tour, "Where's Marycarl's room?" Well, her room will be that office, which the office is only going to be used when Jason is editing a video or we're doing a podcast. Otherwise, it's her room.
Yep.
She doesn't mind sharing it. You have a laptop that you use, so you can put it at the kitchen table or wherever you want to edit a video. If she wants her private time, then she has it.
Plus, too, I was already going to the 40 using the Can-Ham as my office.
Right.
So that's what the 40, and the reason is because that's where our internet is. That's where we can upload our videos. I can't do that here because the internet there is way, way faster. And so I was using it as an office, and when we got the camper, we had when we did that tour, we ain't had a camper 8 hours.
That's right.
So we knew that was going to be my office for at least a period of time until we move out. We ain't even picked out bedrooms. We ain't even done nothing.
Yeah.
But we knew that spot was going, because the internet was coming in there, and that was going to be my office.
There were so many people that
already
said,
my office.
So many people said, "Where's Marycarl's room?
That's right.
Marycarl didn't have a private space." Well, that will be Marycarl's private space. She will have her own area. The bunks fold down to where those cages can be stacked in there.
That's right.
And she can have her birds inside the camper now.
There's 4 beds in that bunk area.
There's 4 beds in that bunk area. One of them lets out into a full-size bed.
It does.
And so she has plenty of space. She can have her animals in there, and that worked out well.
But that's what's happening with the birds. They will be in the camper.
And that's why I said I could talk about that feed store rummage sale.
Oh, gosh.
That might be a podcast in itself.
Maybe so, because we may not be done. Because he said they're going to invite us back.
I don't know if I want to go back. Well, there we go. We're going to paint the house in the tiny house. It's really dark when you did the tour. We're going to mark that off because I don't know why I printed that twice. But
It's okay.
Are you going to do a privacy wall in front of the bathroom area? It's just Mama living there.
Yeah, it's just your mom living there. So we're just going to
She
leave it
doesn't
like it
care
is.
if her cats see her take a shower.
That's right.
She doesn't care if her cats see her brush her teeth or do her business. And that's all that's going to be in there.
That's
so
right.
it will not need to be a wall.
That's right.
It's just, oh, here we go.
Are you going to keep bees? Now, if you kept up with us in the past, you know we've tried bees twice. Both times have been unsuccessful. They have. They've just been unsuccessful. And
I think it's time is a lot to do with it.
It was.
You were
Time
working
was
a full-time
huge.
job,
It
and then
really was, and I would get so confused about bees, y'all. I'm not a person that reads and comprehends well. I'm just not, and so, matter of fact, I bought all these books about bees. There was one that was really, really nice called the Bee Bible that we thought about selling, and since we bought the 40, I've even mentioned to you that eventually I would like to try bees again, maybe in the future. So I kept that book.
So
I packed it away. And as soon as, I'm telling you, this was crazy. As soon as I made the decision to keep that book, this is true. I packed that book up the next day. You got a text.
I got a text from my friend Tanya Drake, and she has bees. Well, she lives in McCalla, but she and her husband have a second farm that's in Chilton County, which is where our new property is. And she keeps bees there as well. She says she has bees on 3 properties right now. And she's running out of space because her bees are robbing the Nooks food. And so she wanted to know if in the future, once we get settled in, if she could put some hives on the 40.
And I was so happy when she said this for several reasons. But for one, I can help her and learn beekeeping from a beekeeper instead of me trying to figure it out on my own.
That's right.
I don't know why, y'all.
You're a hands-on learner. That's why.
I am a hands-on learner. And I don't know, we've been successful doing other things, the meat chicken process. I mean, we've done, but for some reason, I could not do the bees. I didn't know when to feed them. I didn't know when I'm supposed to do this. I didn't know when, and I just couldn't, I don't know. It just didn't register with me, and I just had a hard time struggling with comprehending beekeeping. And to have somebody that's a for real, legit, hardcore beekeeper keeping their hives on the 40 and showing me when to do this, when to do that.
Yeah, she'll be attending to them, and you can just kind of watch over. So, like an apprentice.
That's exactly right. And if I realize, you know what, I just don't like beekeeping,
then you won't be out anything.
I won't be out anything. And
so my immediate response to Tanya was, yes. Yes, you can keep bees on our 40, and it'll help with pollination of our flowers and everything there. We have a lot of blooming things that she wouldn't have access to at her place.
Well, plus we're going to do the flower farm.
That's right. So it'll benefit both of us, I think. So yes, that will.
Super excited about that.
That's funny that was a question. Are you going to keep bees?
That is funny.
Will you do an empty house tour?
I thought that was a pretty good idea. We did a house tour in one of the videos.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Well, we
didn't title.
I think we had it cleaned up really nice and.
Matter of fact, I think that's when the family from Seattle was coming, and we had the house, But we may do an actual, another house tour and show it before we leave.
Empty house tour, leaving the farm for the last
I
time.
think we'll do that for sure.
And we can do Mama's too, because I don't think anybody's ever seen
Never
Mama's.
seen hers. That's right.
So we'll do that.
Absolutely.
Someone else asked after that homeschooling video, how's Marycarl's health now?
It's good.
She's 110%.
She is. But of course, me and Brooke absolutely still, and it's in the back of our mind, especially with, COVID. We take a lot of extra precautions. So it's still there. She may be completely and never have an issue ever again. But to me and you, we're still her mama and daddy, and we still worry, and we kind of go beyond. I don't know.
Every time that she has had a wellness checkup or been to the doctor, I ask them to do blood work to see what her current count is, and every time it's been good.
Yep.
Which to the hematologist that we saw is an indication that she's over it.
Right.
However, we have had good counts in the past.
That's right. We did have good counts in the past.
Not to this consistency.
Right.
But we do take every precaution that's necessary as far as wearing masks to help prevent, sickness. And she had to wear a mask for a long time when she did have the
That's right. Before all this craziness even hit,
kids
we were wearing
didn't know what a mask was. And so she looked like a real oddball wearing a mask, but she knew that it needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I can remember a trip to Disney that she wore a mask.
Yeah.
Or Universal. We just, try to go that extra step to try to help her from getting sick.
Right.
And don't know if she's immunocompromised. Don't think she is, but she feels good.
She does feel good.
So that answers that question. Yes. Why don't you put the pod in the barn at the new 40?
Wouldn't fit.
It wouldn't fit. There's no angle that truck could get at to put the pod in the.
It wouldn't fit.
In the barn. So that's a quick answer to that question. It just
what I was looking at yesterday, though?
What?
I was looking yesterday. Once we get over there and things get straightened out, but the big O could park in the barn easily.
Sure. We've got that little
really,
lean-to
really
right now that I want to make some repairs to once
Yeah.
we get over there. And, we can move some of that stuff around. But I am so thankful this past week. My number one thankful for the week. I think we should do that. What are we thankful for each week?
Yeah.
This past week, my thankful was to have that barn already there on the 40.
Yes, the barn's been a godsend. We have been. We've moved our barn over there. We've moved a bunch of our tools, our shop.
There was space that was needed
Yes.
to store things that couldn't be stored in the wide open, but didn't need to go in a pod.
Yeah.
So that barn that's my thankful for the
It
week.
has been, even the shed lean-to thing too's been awesome.
We're about maxed out. I mean, we need to do some rearranging.
Yeah,
but,
we will.
Okay. So this brings us to what this video is all about.
Yes.
Watching on YouTube, but I have one question. Jason, you said that you have persimmons. Will you do a persimmon reading for your area? Just seeing a reading for Tennessee of 6 persimmons. Okay.
All right. So, if you guys don't know, there's the old, I won't say wives' tale, but there's a old thing
Go ahead
that
and say it, wives' tale.
that wild persimmons that grow here natively. Well, the old timers, I don't know where this even came out. I guess I should have researched it.
Well,
I don't
it
know
was
if there's
kind of
even
spur of the moment.
if there is a origin story to it or not. But the saying is that if you take the persimmon, we have these wild persimmons that grow here. Matter of fact, we got these on the 42. We need to go look for them.
Yeah, we do. That would be a good indication of
Boy,
where those trees are now.
That's right. But anyways,
So we have this persimmon tree on our property.
yes.
As y'all know, Peaches loves persimmons.
Everybody hangs around that persimmon. The geese, I saw the geese there yesterday.
Marycarl told me yesterday that she took a bite out of it and it was really good.
They are good. It's not much meat on them, but they are really good. The thing about, I remember being a little kid, and my granddaddy and family had a cabin on the river, and there was a wild persimmon tree on that dirt road, and I remember walking and picking one up that wasn't quite ripe. And if you've never ever eaten a not quite ripe wild persimmon,
It'll turn you inside
it's
out.
called stringent, and your mouth goes completely, it's weird. Your mouth goes completely dry, and your lips just, it's crazy the reaction you have to it. But
You
it's,
know, Peaches has probably gotten one that's not quite
I
right.
guess it doesn't bother them. I don't know.
You would think they would keep moving once they had one that tasted like that.
I don't. Maybe
They don't,
so.
though. They
It is-
they continue to.
It's so funny.
And I wanted to say something about this.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned on one of our last podcasts that we had some special friends come over from Texas, and it was Dwayne and Chris, and Dwayne sent Jason this nice knife with his name engraved on
It's
it.
so awesome. Thank you so
and
much.
we're going to use it to cut these persimmons open. What does it indicate?
Well, the thing is if you take a persimmon, a ripe persimmon, and get the seeds out of it, the seeds will predict your winter.
Well, let's just cut
Well,
this.
hang on.
I'm going to cut the
Okay.
real persimmon
Okay.
open.
There's three things when you take the seed and you cut the seed in half. When you cut the seed in half, there could be 3 utensils inside that seed. And you should have brought a paper towel. Well, we got where's the towel back there?
This is what the seeds look like inside the persimmon. See all the fruit around it?
It smells so good.
It does. And there's multiple seeds in each persimmon.
But if you take the seed and you cut the seed in half, it could be a spoon inside of it. Or what it is, it looks like a spoon, a little picture of a spoon, a knife, or a fork. And these 3 items will predict your winter. The spoon being lots of snow that you have to shovel your way out. Mm-hmm. The knife being so cold that that the wind cuts you like a knife. And you know what? My mind just went blank on the fork. Do you remember the fork?
The fork is
I think the fork's the mildest of the winters.
okay. No, don't Google.
Don't Google it.
No. So we're gonna do the test here at Cog Hill Farm.
We are. We've got a persimmon. We got some seeds here. We're gonna cut the seeds in half and see what the prediction is
Oh,
here
my stem came off.
of what our winter is gonna be like here.
You want me
in
to
Cog
cut
Hill.
one?
We can.
All right.
Gotta take my glasses off to see.
I'm gonna drop it.
Is it?
All right. So this one looks like it has 2 things in it. I don't know if the camera's not focusing on.
All right, this one definitely looks like a spoon.
All right.
Let's
So
cut
we
another one.
got a spoon.
I can see us having
What?
snow, right? Oh, that's definitely a spoon. I don't know if the camera's gonna show it or not.
I tried to focus on it and it wouldn't focus. It wouldn't focus. It's
It won't
focusing
focus.
on your finger. So we got 2 spoons.
That's 2 spoons, and they say you're supposed to do 5. Is that right?
Well, just, enough to have a comparison.
Oh, it's definitely a spoon.
So 3 spoons.
Uh-oh.
And you're
Guys,
throwing
just
them.
Google it. It'll show you what they're supposed to look like. That's definitely a spoon. I can't hold it.
I don't know.
This one's the best one yet.
I'm going to cut this
I'm
one.
going to touch the camera, see if it focuses on it.
You didn't touch it.
Maybe not. Anyways. Yes, a spoon. What's that one?
2 spoons.
Oh, goodness.
2 spoons.
2 spoons.
And the last one is...
Hang on, let me get it. These things are hard to cut.
Yeah, they are.
You try this at home.
Be careful.
You end up chopping half your finger. And that's a spoon. Oh, so much for your not liking the snow and stuff, right?
So, out of 5...
We had 5 spoons. So,
this person said that this person in Tennessee did 6 persimmons and all 6 were spoons.
well, we did 5 and all 5 were spoons.
And
You
we
know
have
what
done
I'm
this in
thinking?
years past, and it's not always been spoons.
No, we've had a knife a couple of times.
Look at our persimmon covered knife.
You know what this means?
Better get on the shirts ordered.
Your mom knew what was going to happen.
What?
You remember last year when she bought that snow sled?
Where is the snow sled?
Oh, it's packed.
Well, you better get it out.
It was a flat box. Remember asking you what it was, and you said, I don't know what it was. And you went and took it to your mom, and I saw that
Today or last year?
No, last week or so.
Uh-huh.
And I saw she had wrote on it, sled.
I hope you put it towards the back of the
I
pod.
can't remember where it is in the pod, but...
Well, you're not going to be able to open the door because it's going to be so much snow on it.
I like to see us get so much snow we have to dig our way out of it here in Alabama.
Well, we're going 40 miles north.
You think that's going to be the difference?
That's going to be the difference.
Have any of you guys cut your persimmons open? I would love to know what y'all are showing and where you're from. That would be interesting.
But be careful because it is
Don't
hard
cut
to
your
cut
finger
them.
off. It's so hard.
It
Well,
is.
they're slippery and they're thin, so you got to be really careful. If you hit it just right, though, it kind of just pops open.
I got all this stuff on my fingers now.
So we had
It
spoons.
smells so good, though.
You would think there would be one that wouldn't be a spoon, but they're all spoons.
And we have, like I said, we've done this before, and it's
Yeah,
not
we've had
always been
forks and
spoons. We've had
I can't remember what the
forks.
fork was. I wish I looked it up before we did this.
Well, we didn't know what we were going to find, but it's a good thing we didn't find a fork because we wouldn't know what it meant. We wouldn't know what it meant. All
I
right.
looked it up before, though.
Well, we're not going to sit here and wait on you to do
Okay.
that. So, anyway, that concludes number 62, we think.
Number 62, and I want you to start looking for snow shovels when we close the podcast out.
Well, if we go back to Holly's and do that rummaging through that.
Maybe there's a snow shovel over there?
Yeah, maybe there's a snow shovel. Because we're going to need it.
That's right.
All right.
Oh, my gracious. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Y'all be good.